Hey, welcome back to Defending Utah Radio. I am Ben McClintock from defendingutah.org, where we think right and wrong and not right and left. On today's program, we are going to be delving deeper and actually showing some actual footage from the Salt Lake City riots they had a couple of weeks ago, where they were, burning things down and breaking windows, all that kind of stuff, showing that this was actually something that was approved of and actually supported by the government. You had city officials and possibly even state officials involved in this on today's Defending Utah television. Before we get into the program, though, I want to encourage you to go to defendingutah.org and click on the membership tab and become a member today. Support this program. If you like what we do, make sure that more of this can come out. Also, be able to receive all the benefits of membership by clicking on the membership tab and becoming a member today, clicking on the store tab and picking up a lot of great items there as well. T-shirts, DVDs, booklets, etc. Now, let's get into the program. I want to show a few things. One of the first video I want to show is from Saturday's event in the morning, kind of going chronologically. We have the protest starting, and then it starts to get a little hairy with the beginning of starting to burn things and destroy private property, and as well as public property. And I'm going to start with the destroying of the cop car. Now, I've been scouring the internet. This is one of those things like with 9/11 and the Oklahoma City bombing. All of the original news reports as things were happening were the most accurate. And then all of a sudden things started, the official line started to come through, and people, you knew what you had to be saying if you were in the media and what the approved line was. But the original footage is the most accurate, is what we've been able to find. And so we wanted to get all of the stuff that was just live streaming from the mainstream media and other places as well. And so we didn't get all of the footage, but this is a very important clip of the destruction of the cop car that was really become pretty iconic now, happening all over the country, which is, these things don't happen by accident. Just every city in the country all of a sudden decided all to burn a cop car all at the same time. Well, no, that's not exactly how it goes down. Watch our last two videos ago from Joe Wolverton on this topic as well. But let's play this clip real quick. So we've got, as we start out, we've got this cop car. You see it's got graffiti on the side of it, graffiti on the back of it, and still no cops have come. Now all of a sudden people are coming up to the car and they're starting to flip it over, and no cops are coming. What is this cop? Is this car just abandoned by the police? Nobody's around it. It just, they're like, hey, we're letting this cop car be destroyed by everybody, and nobody's coming around. Just imagine if Defending Utah went downtown Salt Lake. I don't know what they're pouring down there on the ground, but it's going to be pretty slippery there. And it looks like milk or something, but maybe it was soap, because you see this guy right here coming up pretty quick, just falls down on his rear end. But just imagine if Defending Utah had gone downtown Salt Lake City and started to do this. Fast the police would be there to stop us. And but here we see lots of time goes by where nothing's going on, and several minutes go by, and they continue to just wail on this cop car. They've got it flipped over. They've broken windshields. They're continuing to spray paint all over the car. They're getting on top of the cop car, and the whole crowds are cheering, and the police are nowhere to be found. And several more minutes go by, and we continue to see more and more graffiti on the car, the looting of the cop car. Several of the guns were taken out of the cop car. Property within the cop car was destroyed, and they continue to do this. We've got about 10, 15 minutes going by, and they continue to just wail on it, graffiti the cop car. Nobody's coming by. So we got 15 minutes of this going on. Now imagine if somebody was actually getting hurt, if somebody's life was in danger, and we're waiting for the police to save us because we're not allowed to have guns. Now, come on, that doesn't happen, especially in Utah. We don't have that slow of a police response. We had the mayor actually tell them to stand down, but it's more than just standing down. We have this important account of this KSL news reporter describing what's going on and what led up to this whole event.
2nd East and 4th South. We're just outside the city library here. We did see a heavy police presence come out this way earlier. The crowd followed them from the public safety building to get out here to the library. It was the first time they'd really seen a police presence out in this area. And then this one Salt Lake City police car was just parked on the side of the road. And these protesters, ralliers, took advantage of the situation, and they are...
Okay, so you have this police presence, all these cop cars drive by, and then they leave one of the cop cars there all by itself. We're going to all drive by and then leave this cop car. And then when it starts to get destroyed, there's nobody around. They just drop it off. And we don't, just leave it off, and no cops are going to come, and nobody's going to take care of it, and nobody's going to kind of respond to the destruction of property. We have a stand down order while the police are dropping off cars to be destroyed. Now we see this next image of the graffiti. You see a lot of the, of course, the vulgarity. You have the ACAB, which stands for All Cops Are Bad. You've got, and then you have this one, Agenda 21. I don't think any of the protesters even know what Agenda 21 is, let alone going to be spray painting about it in regards to Black Lives Matter and police brutality. Let's, we got our local police are brutalizing us. Let's create a stronger world government that's even less accountable to us. Come on, it's ridiculous. This is controlled by the same people on both sides. We need to understand that, was the governor's mansion? Did they go after the governor's mansion? Did they go after any of the media buildings there? Did they go after the banks there? No, of course. All of the power structures, buildings, and property were completely left alone. All the while, private property and the police cars are being destroyed, and of course the front of the Capitol gets destroyed. But there's nobody even there. Nobody even cares. And so let's go on to later on in the evening. We have, as you can see here, it's 2 hours past the curfew. 8 o'clock was the curfew, where they said you can protest and burn cop cars and destroy businesses until 8 o'clock, and then you got to stop. No more of this destruction after 8 o'clock. Well, 2 hours go by, and they still haven't done this. And let's see what's going on here.
Understand that have some protesters gotten a little further up the Capitol there, or what's happened?
Yeah, the situation is escalating here. There's 24 or so protesters that remain. We're seeing a stronger force coming out onto the steps in just the last minute or so. Several dozens of UHP troopers. We did see through the window, and I don't know if Aubrey Schaefer can zoom into there, but there are protesters inside the Capitol. We saw several of the troopers that were out here going back inside. Some of them had canines. We do see...
Okay, so they've got canines going to the Capitol, and they've got all these cop cars right there, and you've got the media pointing out that these protesters are inside just goofing out, looking out the window, and nobody's doing anything about it. We're clearing out the Capitol. We've blocked the doorways so nobody can get in, but somehow there's several protesters inside. Now, maybe they're not protesters. Maybe they're cops. Maybe they're guarding the building. Let's listen a little bit further to the original report here.
So that some of the officers and troopers that are here are in riot gear. Not sure what has happened inside the Capitol or how they got inside, but we are seeing them inside the Capitol. I've seen at least 2 or 3 protesters, and we can tell they're protesters because they have their flyers, their signs.
Okay, so we know they're protesters because of their flyers. So these guys that were inside the Capitol, they were passing out the protesters' flyers. They were out there promoting and getting things egged on, right, from the protesters' perspective. And they're inside the Capitol, and nobody's doing anything about it, even though they're being pointed out to by the media. Now, we see here at 2 hours past at 10 o'clock, they are finally starting to enforce the curfew. They're pushing everybody down, going down from the top of the Capitol Hill, going towards the street in front of the Capitol. Let's fast forward a little bit later on when they've finally kind of gone down to the road.
Garnett,
Around
are they
here.
moving you, or are you moving with them?
They're kind of moving a little bit of both, I would say. So when we were on the Capitol steps, they came down and moved us down. Now we just kind of came around. Now you do still see about a dozen or so people that have gone across the street.
Okay, so now they're down, they're pushed down. Everybody's off the grounds of the Capitol. If you're not going down, you're getting arrested and not being allowed to remain on the Capitol grounds unless you're
Those that were inside the Capitol
protesters.
building, I actually can still see them through the window. They remain inside the Capitol building. The two protesters that we had seen that somehow got inside.
Those protesters are still inside somehow, even though we've pushed everybody off the Capitol grounds.
But as you can see, there are several officers in riot gear. Now they have stayed on that middle portion of the steps.
We have these we have these protesters inside the Capitol, and the news has pointed them out several times. They have their they have their canine units going through the Capitol. They're right in the window, right behind all these guys. Not real hard for one of them to look behind them and see them. They're not even hiding. But they pushed everybody else down to the main street. But these guys that have been passing out protesters' literature are allowed to stay. Now, again, remember this. They haven't gone after the governor's mansion. They're not going after the banks. They're not going after all of the clubs downtown that these people that are supposedly oppressing them. No, they're leaving those things alone, and they're only going after property that's been up, either private property of just businesses, or after abandoned government property. Now, and then these protesters supposedly are allowed to stay on Capitol grounds while everybody else is being pushed down. Now, you need to understand that you're being played. No matter which side of this you're on, you're being played. They're trying to pit us against each other and off of the real enemy. This isn't about black versus white. This isn't about rich versus poor. This is about freedom versus liberty. And of course, those that are seeking to take away our liberty are encouraging this civil unrest. And so then we'll beg for bigger government. These false dichotomies out there where you've got they're defunding the police. Baloney. You've got these people, the people in the BLM and the people that have been abused by the police. They're calling for the United Nations to come in and disarm America and disarm the police. So yeah, global government, that's going to be much, much better at protecting your rights and making sure minorities aren't attacked. Right. Definitely. And then you've got the other side, right? The other side that's defending the police state that we have right now, saying, no, we need to support of course, the Blue Lives Matter, and totally ignoring the oppression that's going on by the current level of police. So we are either going to be supporting what we have right now, or we're going to be having these reforms that actually lead towards a national or internationalizing of the police. We need to understand who's behind this, that we are being played, and not to fall for the false solutions, and hold the actual proper people accountable, and to stop furthering and continuing on the charade that's going on. Again, this is not something that anybody else is going to be covering. We are doing more and more investigation into this. If you want to help support that, become a member today. Go to the website, go to defendingutah.org, click on the membership tab, do a one-time donation, or help us out continually by becoming a member of Defending Utah, to be able to help us be able to uncover. If you've got more video that can help us to illustrate what's really going on, please forward it on to us, because we know that these things are going to start to disappear and we need it. So we need your help now more than ever. Make sure you're subscribing to us on Facebook or on YouTube, and on following us on Facebook and the other social medias. so that way, and then share these videos. We need to get this information out there. We need to get more people on board, becoming involved in the solution to what's really going on. Until next time, I'm Ben McClintock from defendingutah.org.